Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You hear me talk about 401ks every day on my radio show. Why? Because it's such a disservice. 89 million Americans have a 401k. There's 638,000 plans. And the father of the 401k, Ted Brenner, even admitted they're a scam. He doesn't endorse them anymore because of the ridiculous fees. You got to get away from those fees. Remember, every 1% fee, they take 30% of your retirement money. The average fund is 2.5%. 60% of the money is going to be gone when you're ready to retire. You don't need to do that. There's an alternative. Join my gang, philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Seek out the alternative. Give yourself a break. philsgang.com. Sign up today.
Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. Open Line Friday. Don't forget, every Friday, here's the number, 855-745-7445. Use that number to participate in my radio show where I can give you information on your stock. Don't forget, that's every Friday, Open Line Friday. That's here on philsgang.com, every Friday.
Don't miss it. Tune in and call Phil with your stock questions on Open Line Fridays. Left-wing, right-wing, libertarians, independents. We may not all agree on politics, but we all agree that we need to plan for retirement. At philsgang.com, we prepare you and educate you on how to invest in the stock market so you can secure your retirement and live comfortably. Call Phil's Gang today, 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. You know, most people get involved with a 401k because of the employer match. They really believe that there's free money. There's no free money. It's a scam. Here's how it works. You ever notice that you can't get the money all at once? Why not? Why don't they just give you the match all at once? Why over 6 years? Because they know only 12% of the people who work for a company stay for 6 years or more. Only 12% are there for 6 years. That's why they plugged it to 6 years. They know you're not going to stay. So it's not for your benefit. It's for the benefit of the company. It's a scam. There's an alternative, though. Phil's Gang. Join my gang. philsgang.com. philsgang.com.
Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, there's nothing worse than you're investing in a stock and during the day something happens and you don't know what to do. You don't know who to call. Or you call somebody and they just give you a bunch of BS. Not here at Phil's Gang. We value every gang member. During the day, you got a question about your stock, you contact us. We have the best service in the world. philsgang.com. You're not alone. You're a gang member.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, people make it too complicated. Wall Street tells you the market cap and the trailing PE and the forward PE and price to sales to confuse you. All you need to know is, does the stock have volume? What's that mean? Energy. What does that mean? If you have people buying a stock, enough of the stock's being bought, it influences the prices to go up. Join my gang, philsgang.com. We're using charting, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264. The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
Monetary policies providing important support to the recovery, notably keeping longer-term interest rates low, has helped spark recovery in the housing market and led to increased sales and production of automobiles and other durable goods. I just want to emphasize that we're very focused on Main Street. We're trying to create jobs. We're trying to make housing affordable. Our low interest rates have created a lot of ability to buy automobiles.
Is it fair to say, though, that Wall Street has benefited more than Main Street has?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. Okay, the stock market. You're going to have some great opportunities in the market. You really are. We're going to talk about that today. But we're also going to talk about this transition everybody's talking about. Most people don't understand what is going on, in the sense of that Trump is saying, look, I am going to take over. In other words, I'm going to have a fiscal policy. I'm not going to go by a monetary policy. We've been going by a monetary policy that has really destroyed this country. QE, exactly what Bernanke was talking about. He says how QE has really helped the economy. No, it hasn't. We have not grown. Less than 2%. It's been a lie all the way through this quantitative easing. And this is what Trump is facing. See, Trump's saying, look, when he became president, I'm going to take over. I'm going to decide how to grow the country. I will own it. It's me. I'm not going to hand it off to the Federal Reserve. See, you hand it off. See, a president has a choice. He can just say, here, Federal Reserve Chairman, it's up to you. You go ahead and do what you're supposed to do. You grow the economy. You grow the jobs. This is what your job. You go ahead and do that. And I'm just not going to have anything to do with it. You own it. Or a president can say, I'm going to own it. Now, that's actually brave. President, a new president, I'm going to own it. We're not going to go by a monetary policy, but a fiscal policy, which means that I'm going to make sure that we grow this economy the right way. I'm not going to do what you guys did. In the monetary policy, it's terrible what you did. You raised taxes. I'm going to cut taxes. You increased regulations that put the coal industry out of business. You increased regulations that put small businesses out, which, by the way, the small businesses is where most of our good-paying jobs come from. About 68-70% of full-time, high-paying jobs. You killed them. Because that's monetary policy. All you did is print money, print money, print money. Keep money at 0% so that the government could continue to borrow money cheaply. Because you couldn't grow the economy because you didn't focus on jobs. You didn't focus on growing the economy. You kept interest rates at 0 for 8 years and killed this economy. But here's the real thing, what they did that killed this economy. And he's going to have a battle with this. This is going to be tough, what he's walking into. Remember what they did. When this stock market crashed in 2008, Bernanke did exactly what he said he would not do. Monetize the bank's debt. In other words, quantitative easing. All monetizing of debt means when the banks were broke, when the banks went broke, the 5 largest banks, Bush, he still has some time remaining before Obama came in, Bush should have never went in and propped the banks up. He should have let capitalism do what it's supposed to do. Those banks were broke. They should have let them go out of business, take the assets and spread those assets among the 8,000 other banks. Instead, he decides to prop the banks up because those are all his buddies, all his pals. The Bush empire, remember, was locked and hip with Goldman Sachs. Now, the banks collapsed because there was no liquidity in the market. Banks couldn't buy or sell their mortgages. They couldn't sell their subprime mortgage. They couldn't sell their debt. They couldn't sell their bonds. There was no banks would buy another bank's debt. Remember how it froze? That's how the crash happened. Because banks couldn't do business with each other. They were scared to do business with each other. So they come up with a program. They said, we got to pretend there's liquidity in the market so people go shopping, people go out and just do business as usual, that they can do transactions. So here's what we'll do. We'll go and we'll take the banks, we'll say to them, we'll exchange, we'll print $2.1 trillion. They print it using a keyboard. And then what we'll do is we'll do an exchange. We'll give you the $2.1 trillion in exchange for your assets that aren't any good. We'll take your subprime loans, all those mortgages that aren't any good, and we'll take those. And we'll buy your bonds. Now remember, like Citibank, the stock went from, I don't know, $60 down to $2. Well, the reason the stock's at $2 because those assets aren't any good. So all they did is print money out of thin air, nothing behind it, and they do an exchange. There's no value. There's no value. It was to create an illusion that, oh, look at this. There's liquidity back into the economy. Now we can go on again and the banks can open up and do business. No, it was all fake. There was no value there. So what did they do with the monetary policy? They kept on printing money, and keep it at 0 and loan it to the banks at 0, loan it to corporations at 0 interest so they could buy their own stocks back. Then we had QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4. All fake. This whole economy, this whole rally from 2008 to where we are today is all fake. So Trump comes in and says, okay, Yellen, I don't want you to do anything. It's important you don't do anything. Don't you dare raise rates. Certainly don't do another QE or monetizing of debt where you print money and exchange the cash for garbage that's worth nothing. Just don't do anything. So important. So we have never seen yields on the 10-year Treasury go up this high. If you notice, the yields on the 10-year Treasury is going from like in a week, like 1.5 to like 2.5. That's huge. That's signaling that interest rates on the 10-year Treasuries are going up. And that means, oh, looking in the future, our economy is going to be better. So we got all these people from Europe coming over here, dumping their euros, buying our dollars, creating this big demand for dollars so they can go buy stocks. So we got stocks going through the roof, some of these stocks going through the roof, and we got the dollar going up. And when he's putting in these programs, these inflationary programs, the dollar should be coming down, not going up. So we got a stock market rally right now that went up about 4%. It's going to erode. It's going to start with the banks. The bank stocks are going to start eroding. This whole Trump rally in the last few weeks, this 4%, 5% rally, will be gone. It's going to be gone. So you got to be very careful what you're doing in the market. And if you got profits right now, you should be taking them. We'll talk more about that after this break here on Phil's Gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. Open Line Friday. Don't forget, every Friday, here's the number, 855-745-7445. Use that number to participate in my radio show where I can give you information on your stock. Don't forget, that's every Friday, Open Line Friday. That's here on philsgang.com, every Friday.
Don't miss it. Tune in and call Phil with your stock questions on Open Line Fridays. Left-wing, right-wing, libertarians, independents. We may not all agree on politics, but we all agree that we need to plan for retirement. At philsgang.com, we prepare you and educate you on how to invest in the stock market so you can secure your retirement and live comfortably. Call Phil's Gang today, 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. Open Line Friday. Don't forget, every Friday, here's the number, 855-745-7445. Use that number to participate in my radio show where I can give you information on your stock. Don't forget, that's every Friday, Open Line Friday. That's here on philsgang.com, every Friday.
Don't miss it. Tune in and call Phil with your stock questions on Open Line Fridays. Left-wing, right-wing, libertarians, independents. We may not all agree on politics, but we all agree that we need to plan for retirement. At philsgang.com, we prepare you and educate you on how to invest in the stock market so you can secure your retirement and live comfortably. Call Phil's Gang today, 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, there's nothing worse than you're investing in a stock and during the day something happens and you don't know what to do. You don't know who to call. Or you call somebody and they just give you a bunch of BS. Not here at Phil's Gang. We value every gang member. During the day, you got a question about your stock, you contact us. We have the best service in the world. philsgang.com. You're not alone. You're a gang member.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
Do you invest in a 401k or an IRA? Did you know you could lose 30, 40, even 50% of your investments when the market crashes? It's time you take control of your investments. For over 15 years, philsgang.com's Phil Grandy has been teaching, coaching, and investing right along with all Phil's Gang members, making profits when the market is up or down. philsgang.com posts daily market updates, has a live investing class, and all material is archived. Sounds too good to be true? Why not join thousands of satisfied Phil's Gang customers today? Go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
For more information, simply go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
philsgang.com. As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. It's always about fees. That's right. It's always about fees. When you're investing in anything, it's about fees, but especially 401ks. Let me explain to you how you get screwed with a 401k. Nobody will tell you this. You'll be told with a $25,000 investment, your 401k will return 7%, and over 30 years, you'll retire with a nest egg of $226,000 with a fee of 0.5%. That is a lie. Do you know if you just bump it from 0.5% to 1.5%, that $226,000 drops to $160 with 2% fee? It drops to $123. But you know what most fees are? 3%. So you're going to drop almost below $100,000. Join my gang, philsgang.com, and get rid of that 401k. It is not for your benefit.
Isn't it time you reduce your fear of investing? Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264. Welcome back. This segment of the Phil's Gang Show is brought to you by the MV Stock Charts. For more information, go to philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. Open Line Friday. Don't forget, every Friday, here's the number, 855-745-7445. Use that number to participate in my radio show where I can give you information on your stock. Don't forget, that's every Friday, Open Line Friday. That's here on philsgang.com, every Friday.
Don't miss it. Tune in and call Phil with your stock questions on Open Line Fridays.
And you're welcome back to Phil's Gang. Yes, every Friday starting this Friday, we'll open up the lines and we'll start talking about your stocks, because this is going to be an exciting market. You don't want to miss this market. And many people are confused because now they're seeing this market going up and they're saying, well, isn't this market supposed to correct it? Everyone's saying this market is way overpriced. Yes. But you're going to also have, and I'll guide you through, you're going to have some wonderful opportunities in some stocks. You're going to have great opportunities, okay, in rail, all the different railroads. Matter of fact, even the rail, the company that builds the rail cars is going to be an excellent company. See, all these stocks, including construction stocks, they've all gone up so fast in the last week because of Trump, because he won the election. And they're saying, okay, now he is going to take over and he's going to be in charge of fiscal policy. He's the one who's going to make this economy grow. Now, and that's why you're seeing these wonderful stocks. Take like this construction stock. It's MCOR Group. Now, this stock rallied 18%. Now, if you were a gang member and you had my chart, and that was one of your stocks, one of your 5 stocks, you would have caught that stock. No question about it. You would have made money on that stock, about 18% on that stock. But to get in now and to buy the stock, it went from $59 to $70. To get in and chase it now? No, you can't do that. We got a lot of stocks like this. We got another stock. Look at Darden Restaurants, DRI. DRI, another one. Darden Restaurant went from, when it turned green from red, where he had a buy signal, and then Trump as soon as they announced he was going to win, the stock went from $63 to $73. 63 to 73. That's another 15%. All these stocks, Northrop Grumman went up 22%. If you were a gang member, and we taught you how to use your chart, your color-coded chart, especially for people who have no time at all, just don't have a minute to spare, you would have made on that one stock about 21%. Yeah. But here's the problem. A lot of people are jumping in now. You can't do that. Because if you do, you're going to get caught in a severe sell-off. And here's why the market's going to sell off. Because when everyone got excited, like the bank stocks went straight up, because the bank said, look at this. Trump is now going to have a fiscal policy where he's going to make sure he grows the economy and his administration. He's not going to depend on goofball, okay, on B. And therefore, what he's going to do is all these regulations we have in banking are going to go. He's going to raise interest rates. That's good for us, the banks, when interest rates go up. As a matter of fact, what we're seeing, anytime you see the 10-year Treasury, you can find it anywhere. Just go to Google, the 10-year Treasury, follow the yield. When you see the yield, which is the same as the interest rate, when you see that interest rate go up, the first thing that happens, the Europeans sell their euros, they buy dollars to buy bank stocks. So one thing I always teach my students, watch that yield every day, because when you see those yields going up, watch the dollar go up. So you can buy the dollar and make money on the dollar. When the dollar goes from red to green, buy the dollar. But the problem is that he is not in office yet. Trump's not in office yet. So all these rallies are going to be gone because there's no earnings behind it. It's all just hype. That's all it is right now. And here's the problem. When he comes into office and he starts out, he's got to grow the economy, and he will. He'll grow the economy to 3 to 4%. Because his policies are going to be cut taxes. His policies are going to be to focus solely on growing jobs, where the other administration never focused on jobs. But he's going to have to print money. He's going to have to borrow money, print money. He's got to pay for these programs, and that's inflationary. But here's the point. He's got to pay for, when he pays for these programs and interest rates go up, he can absorb the interest rate. But it's going to take time between now and about 8 months before you start seeing the first move in the GDP going up, economic growth going up. Got to understand that's downtime. So he hasn't done anything yet. So if interest rates go up, the way you absorb the interest rates is to have the economy go up. So if your GDP goes from 2% to 2.5%, and your interest rate goes up a 1/4 point, that's good. Then your interest rate goes up another 1/2 point. But then your economy grows from, let's say, 2.5% to 3%. As long as every time the interest rate goes up and the economic growth, the economy growth goes up, they go up together. That's a strong, strong economy. Strong economy. And that's what you want. The problem is the other administration, because they were using a monetary policy to only help the very wealthy, a very small segment of our population. It was all put together. That policy was geared to just helping the very wealthy, not helping the working America, the middle class person. No, it's all about wealth, creating fake wealth for the very, very wealthy. So that's why the economy never grew, because they could never allow the interest rates to go up. Because to allow the interest rates go up, are you kidding me? The government would have to borrow at a higher rate, and because they're not growing the economy when interest rates are going up, that's a disaster. That would have been a total disaster. For 8 years, they never grew the economy. So for 8 years, they could never raise rates. And when you can't raise rates, you can't grow the economy. You can't get good jobs. So he's got to catch up, though. So everybody's got to give him a chance. So in the meantime, this market will correct. This market will pull back. And so we'll make money shorting it. But then when that pulls back, you're going to have some incredible opportunities to buy some stocks. We'll talk about those when we get back here on Phil's Gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Open Line Friday. Don't forget, every Friday, here's the number, 855-745-7445. Use that number to participate in my radio show where I can give you information on your stock. Don't forget, that's every Friday, Open Line Friday. That's here on philsgang.com. Every Friday.
Don't miss it. Tune in and call Phil with your stock questions on Open Line Fridays. Left-wing, right-wing, libertarians, independents. We may not all agree on politics, But we all agree that we need to plan for retirement. At philsgang.com, we prepare you and educate you on how to invest in the stock market so you can secure your retirement and live comfortably. Call Phil's Gang today, 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Phil Grandy is a career businessman who's also been an entrepreneur all his life. He's used his business skills to take companies on the abyss of bankruptcy and bringing them back to profitability. Phil has been honored by Inc. magazine for the 500 fastest growing privately held companies and has been recognized with the prestigious Entrepreneur of the Year award. From the real estate to gas and oil industries to the stock market, Phil Grandy has mastered his line of business from start to finish. And with a passion and desire to make you a profitable investor, only Phil teaches you and guides you to make informed, unemotional investment decisions. And you'll gain the knowledge of what Wall Street doesn't want you to know. If you want to learn from the best and strengthen your ability to invest, then turn to Phil Grandy and philsgang.com. Simply call Phil's Gang at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You hear me talk about 401ks every day on my radio show. Why? Because it's such a disservice. 89 million Americans have a 401k. There's 638,000 plans. And the father of the 401k, Ted Brenner, even admitted they're a scam. He doesn't endorse them anymore because of the ridiculous fees. You got to get away from those fees. Remember, every 1% fee, they take 30% of your retirement money. The average fund is 2.5%. 60% of the money is going to be gone when you're ready to retire. You don't need to do that. There's an alternative. Join my gang, philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Seek out the alternative. Give yourself a break. philsgang.com. Sign up today.
Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, people make it too complicated. Wall Street tells you the market cap and the trailing PE and the forward PE and price to sales to confuse you. All you need to know is, does the stock have volume? What's that mean? Energy. What does that mean? If you have people buying a stock, enough of the stock's being bought, it influences the prices to go up. Join my gang, philsgang.com. We're using charting, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Are you ready to get serious about your financial future? You know, reduce debt, pay off those student loans, and prepare for retirement. Taking control of your finances can be intimidating, but with philsgang.com, you will be educated and guided to make smart investment decisions in the stock market. If the market is up or down, philsgang.com is the only source where you'll learn how to trade stocks and how to invest in the stock market using professional-level skills and strategies. For more information, go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. Welcome back. Are you a fan of the Phil's Gang radio show? Then you should check out philsgang.com or give them a call, 877-600-4264.
You made up the fact that Obamacare has caused job loss. There is no evidence. You made up the fact that
there's 100%
there is
evidence.
none. There is Maria,
all I need are 10 CEOs to come on this show and tell me that's the reason, and then it becomes
okay.
fact.
Who cares if some CEO comes on the show and tells you that's the reason? Look at the data. Look at the data. There is not a single data
I don't need data when I have the CEO telling me I'm not adding workers because of the cost of Obamacare. That is my data. I just spoke to the boss, and he gave me the reason.
Well, Maria, that is absolutely wrong. That's not how you consider data. Data is considered by actually looking at the facts on the ground. Economic growth is the rapidest it's been in 8 years. Okay? Economic growth, we're coming out of a recession, and Obamacare is irrelevant to economic growth. Please, there is no evidence at all.
Oh, my God. That's Gruber. He's the one that said, thank God the Americans were stupid or we'd never gotten this through. He's saying there's economic growth. Are you kidding me? There's no economic growth. Look, the reason there's never been any economic growth, meaning the GDP that they measure every month, they measure how many finished goods, okay, that all these factories complete. They add it all up. Every president grows an economy where when they add all those goods up, never below 3%. Because 3% creates about 275,000 jobs a month, good-paying jobs. We are below 2%. We've been below 2% for 8 years. The economy, he's lying, the economy's not growing. Obamacare killed the economy. Because when you finish paying, because we didn't create jobs, this whole economy started with this fake premise that we're going to put all this liquidity into the stock market, into the economy. When the banks crashed in 2008 and we couldn't, everything was going to hell, and the banks were closing and they weren't doing deals with each other. It was all because everything was frozen. There was no liquidity. I couldn't go and buy gas from you, or there was no liquidity in the market. And the way they created the liquidity was a fraud. They go and take all these banks, instead of letting the banks go down, the 5 banks, take the assets and sell them to the 8,000 great banks, which they should have done. Then the economy would have started to grow, and liquidity would have quickly came into the economy. But they didn't. They did this to take care of their pals, the 5 banks. So they said to the 5 banks, keep this a secret. Let's buy all your garbage. We're going to print money for you. And they go on their keyboard, print up $2 trillion. Now, give to me all your garbage subprime loans that they had a subprime loan that was $125,000. They couldn't sell that loan for $100 to any bank. So they said, I will give you the face value. You got a $125,000 subprime loan. You can't sell it to anybody, not even for $100. I'll take it. And I'll give you face value. They go on the keyboard. There's your money, $125,000. It was useless. It was worthless. There was no value. They did the same thing with the bonds. Give me your trashy bonds that weren't worth anything. Give me the bonds that blew up that weren't anything. And I'll pay you for those. So they print money and they give it to the banks by doing this exchange. That's called monetization of debt. Big fancy word. Monetization of debt. You can't keep doing that. And that's what this Obama and B has been doing for 8 years. And then to back it up, they come in and they just keep printing this money and giving money to the companies free. Just keep buying your own shares. So that's why the jobs weren't growing. That's why the economy wasn't growing. The GDP wasn't growing. You can't grow. So Trump's going to come in. Everybody knows this, and they're going to come and say, well, let's really put real liquidity into this. Let's really build this economy. And we're going to do it by cutting taxes right away to bring money in from overseas and put it in the economy. Not by buying some bank's garbage mortgage that's not worth anything. Are you kidding? So he's going to do, and then he's going to start cutting all the regulations on small businesses. And then he's going to be able to give, small businesses will be able to start loaning, going out and borrowing money so they could start expanding. That's how you build the economy. And that's what he's going to do. But he's going to have to raise rates. He's going to have to print money to do that, to get started. But that's okay, because, as I said earlier, he will be able to absorb every one of those interest rate hikes because right behind it, our economy is growing and growing and growing. So these guys are all liars. This whole thing's been a fraud for 8 years. So what do we do now to make money in the stock market? Well, you've got to lay back in the weeds now and let the market come back 10% or more before you start buying. Then what stocks am I going to put my gang in? I'm going to put it on my chart. And when it starts selling off, we'll start shorting them, called shorting. And we're going to have some great stocks to short, but the real money is going to be made when we get this correction. Remember this whole rally. Okay. By the way, if Trump didn't become president, do you know where we would have ended up because of this fake economy? Because Yellen and Obama could not raise rates because the economy wasn't growing, and it wasn't growing fast enough to raise rates. And when you keep rates at zero, and small businesses can't go, you keep rates at zero, and you can't give savers a 5% rate on a CD. You can't. The small businessman can't go to the bank and say, "I'm going to borrow. I need money from you." How's he going to borrow money if people aren't putting their money in the bank to get 5%? And there's no money, the savers aren't putting money in because it's only 0.25%. How can a banker, how can a small business go borrow money? He can't. He can't. So here's what we were facing. If she became president, they were going to continue with the same monetary policy of this quantitative easing, okay, of exchanging, okay, again, there's the bad stuff at the banks for cash. And here's what would have kicked in. We have, in this country, a $411 trillion in a derivative bubble that he talks about. That would have imploded and put us into a recession. What's a recession compared to a depression? A recession is when your neighbor, you see him lose his job and you got yours still. A depression is when you lose yours. But that's not going to happen now. That's not going to happen now. So we got some good stuff going on here. So you just got to know what stocks to get into, and we'll help you with it. Do you know that Fannie and Freddie Mac, Obama has been lying that it's billions in losses, and nobody's talking. They've been masking and hiding the billions of losses. We already bailed them out once. We bailed them out once with $180 billion. Now we're going to have to bail. Nobody's talking about it because they didn't want to say anything about it because they kept saying, "Oh, look at Obama. He really did a great job with his economy. Look at the jobs he created." And look at the consumers, the bankruptcies. We just experienced the largest quarterly increase in 3 years in U.S. bankruptcies for consumers. Between that and Freddie and Fannie, billions in losses, that could go bankrupt. So he's got quite a job ahead of him. But he'll do it because he knows what he has to do. So now, finally, you can get back in the market and you can make some money and be confident. And that's why I ask you, look, join the gang. Join the gang, especially if you're a person that's so busy all the time and you say, I just don't have time. This is what we do. We have gang members. That's many of our gang members are working people who don't have time. But we have a program for them on our chart called the MV2. There's just a color-coded chart, and we work with them on it, and we guide them. Look, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at a lot of the good defense stocks. Look at Raytheon, RTN. That's going to be an excellent stock to buy. But wait till it pulls back. It's pulling back now. Join now, 877-600-GANG, and get your free chart for 4 weeks. Join now.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Let me ask you, could you use a little extra money? Well, of course you could. Everybody could use that extra revenue to pay the bills, pay down debt, or save for retirement. With Phil'sGang.com, we help you make that extra income in the stock market. For over 15 years, Phil Grandy and the Phil'sGang.com team have helped folks who are interested in learning short-term and long-term investing by providing professional-level charting skills and strategies. Phil'sGang.com is your #1 source to learn, invest, and profit in the stock market. And you can do this for only $39.95 a month. With Phil'sGang.com, you learn how to invest in the market, you get daily investment coaching guidance, and you will learn to invest and trade with the skills and confidence of the pros. Just log on and get daily investment instructions and make profits. Plus, all Phil'sGang.com material is archived for your convenience. Go to Phil'sGang.com to join or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Call today.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy of Phil'sGang.com. We're a teaching format, and boy, do we give good service. You know, buying a stock doesn't have to be complicated. The reason why Wall Street makes it complicated is so to make you think you need to hire them. You can do better without them, believe me, because you're not going to have those big fees. Come to Phil's Gang, where we'll show you an easy way to buy a stock. Phil'sGang.com, where we don't make it complicated, but profitable.
For more information, go to Phil'sGang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy of Phil'sGang.com. You know, most people get involved with a 401k because of the employer match. They really believe that there's free money. There's no free money. It's a scam. Here's how it works. You ever notice that you can't get the money all at once? Why not? Why don't they just give you the match all at once? Why over 6 years? Because they know only 12% of the people who work for a company stay for 6 years or more. Only 12% are there for 6 years. That's why they plugged it to 6 years. They know you're not going to stay. So it's not for your benefit. It's for the benefit of the company. It's a scam. There's an alternative, though. Phil's Gang. Join my gang. Phil'sGang.com. Phil'sGang.com.
Find out more at Phil'sGang.com, Phil'sGang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, Phil'sGang.com. Open Line Friday. Don't forget, every Friday, here's the number, 855-745-7445. Use that number to participate in my radio show where I can give you information on your stock. Don't forget, that's every Friday, Open Line Friday. That's here on Phil'sGang.com, every Friday.
Don't miss it. Tune in and call Phil with your stock questions on Open Line Fridays. Left wing, right wing, libertarians, independents. We may not all agree on politics, but we all agree that we need to plan for retirement. At Phil'sGang.com, we prepare you and educate you on how to invest in the stock market so you can secure your retirement and live comfortably. Call Phil's Gang today, 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to Phil'sGang.com. That's Phil'sGang.com. Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out Phil'sGang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264.
President Obama focused on economic growth, passed the largest stimulus in our nation's history. So don't say he didn't focus on economic growth over the opposition of Republican Congress. So don't start blaming President Obama.
The stimulus he got passed didn't work because he targeted towards the wrong segments of our economy. When he got the money, instead of putting it into Main Street, give it to the small businessman so he could expand and hire people, he didn't. Instead, he took the money and he gave it to Democrat governors and said, thank you for helping me get elected. And now I know you're having a little trouble that you can't pay your union teachers, union fire, union police. So what I'm going to do is take this money from the federal government, which I'm not supposed to do. I'm going to give it to you. Thank you for helping me. Give it to you to pay your payroll so you don't have to lay them off. What the hell is that? Federal money? Are you kidding? You're supposed to be growing the economy. Take the money and give it to small businesses. Nah, he didn't do that. See, that's the problem. He misallocated. Then he turns around and gives his money bundlers all this money instead of building bridges and roads. And he gives the money to all his money bundlers, and he sets them up with big loans for his green programs like Solandra that completely flopped. But none of that means anything anymore. We got a new president. We're going to have an opportunity to make money. And here's what you got to listen. Stop listening to these people on CNBC. Listen to this. They tell you to buy Amazon. Listen to this.
Given the price action and valuation, I can't pass it up. Amazon, I'd be buying it here.
He said buy it based on price and valuation. Really? How about buying it if the big institutions are buying it? So let's put it up on the chart. And this is an extra chart for people who are just so busy. But you got to retire. What are you going to do? Retire with Social Security? I know you hate the stock market. I know you hate the people in it, and I don't blame you. I do too. But at least this is the way. This is an alternative. Try it for 4 weeks. You'll see it's free, for God's sakes. The chart. So here's Amazon. It turned from green to red. You can see it right on the chart. It turned from green to red. And that was in October 12th. And this has dropped now. It's still red. It's down right now about 18%. And he tells you to buy it?
Given the price action and valuation.
Given the price action. Who cares about the price action?
Given the price action and valuation, I can't.
Price action and valuation? The valuations are way too high. Because the stock market has gone up, not because the economy is growing through good jobs, and because people have good jobs, they can pay their bills, then they have enough left to go to a store and buy something. No. And then that way there, when they buy something, the store makes a profit, more profit than the previous month, and therefore the stock price goes up. No, that's not what's going on. They created a lie, putting liquidity in the market called quantitative easing, all fake, and the economy's not growing. So they say, how we'll get the stock up is we'll just simply print money, give it to companies so they can buy their own stock, which is going to come crashing down. Now, we were going to get at least a 50-60% crash in the stock market if Hillary became president, because she was not going to change the way she's doing her monetary policy. She's going to do it the same way as Obama's been doing it and Aunt B. Trump, we will get a correction, maybe 10-15%. But the quicker he can get in there, and the quicker he can start growing the economy, because the first thing he has to do is cut rates right away. You cut interest rates right away. Once you cut those interest rates, and then he gets lending out to the small businesses, he's got to lower these. I mean, he's got to raise these interest rates. Really, I'm so used to cutting interest rates. He's got to raise rates. Raising rates is not bad. Raising rates is a good thing. We've been cutting rates at 0% for 8 years. We can't grow. You got to raise rates. When you raise rates, it's telling you you've created jobs. When you raise rates, it tells you, hey, people have savings. They got money in their savings account. They don't have all this debt. See, he's coming in and he's facing debt. I mean, we never had so much debt. Consumers are on the hook for $59 trillion in liabilities. That equals $516,000 for every household, or $700,000 per family of 4, or $175,000 per man, woman, and child in that household. Are you nuts? The government's been collecting under their program $3.2 trillion in taxes a year, and they're spending almost $1 trillion more than they're collecting. Medicare's out of sight, $618 billion. Medicaid, $618 billion. The interest we're paying is $200 trillion on our debt. $200 trillion. We don't have it. We have to go print it or we have to borrow it. Because they forgot to grow the economy. They only grew the welfare state. So now we make money. So now let this market drop back. And when it starts dropping back on key stocks, I'll tell you, like I tell my gang, here's the ones we're going to get in. Okay? And just here, give you an example. Let's take our own stock here right now, Goldman Sachs, for God's sakes. Goldman Sachs is one of our 5 stocks, and that's how you make money, by the way. You don't look at 1 million stocks. Goldman Sachs went from $165 up to $212 because of this. Went up 28%, but now it's starting to pull back. It's not going to hold there. So my gang knew when to get in because it turned green. Institutions coming, and it just started to turn red today, telling you when to get out, start taking profits, so you can sleep at night. So if you're a busy person and you're saying, I don't know, I can't retire just on Social Security. I really haven't put that much money away. I haven't put money away for my retirement. I don't know what I'm going to do. I thought I'd have plenty of time. Well, this is at least an option for you. It's an option. Nobody gives you the service that I give you. Then all I ask you, help out St. Jude's Hospital. That's all. So you join the gang. It's $39.95. For 4 weeks, I give you the chart free. We show you how to use the chart. And then you can convince yourself whether you want to continue or not. And then we guide you. Every morning we have coffee talk, tell you exactly what's going on for that day. And then at 9:30 when the market opens, it's live. We're in there investing in the market and show you how we do it. And you can join us online. See the stocks. Ask us about your own stock. That ends at 11. Then all during the day, we're doing updates. The 5 stocks that we focus on, they're brand stocks. You can have any 5 you want. That's how you make money, because you're always ready, because you're always ahead of it, because you're always on time for the signal. When you're looking at too many stocks, you miss the buy signals. This way here, you have the same stocks, you get the same buy signals, you're right ahead of it, you're on top of it, and the other thing is you learn how to make money when they go down. So let me give you the number, 877-600-GANG. 877-600-GANG, and I've never been more positive about this stock market since Trump became president, because I know exactly what he's going to do and how he's going to grow the economy. He's not going to grow it with tricks, monetizing debt, which is criminal. What kind of deal is that? You go to the banks that are broke, and for 8 years you keep buying their bonds that are no good and their mortgages that are no good, and you just print the cash and give it to them. Now everybody's, oh, look at the liquid in the market, the liquid's going into the economy, and then you keep pumping more liquid in, and you make sure you never raise rates. How can you have a stock market go up 138% on zero interest rates? How can you have a stock market go up 138% and the earning or the growth is 1.6% in the economy? How would a stock go up 138% if you're only growing the economy 1.6%? How does it? Because it's all fake. But all going to change now. So again, I don't care if you just hate the market, if you've been just fed up with it. Give it a chance. With the new technology we have today, with us behind you, everything's archived. It's so easy. And get your children involved. Get your kids involved. What a way for them to learn how to start investing using charts. So easy, and just follow the same 5 stocks. And then you also get our bonus stocks. Here's the number, 877-600-GANG. Call now and get your free chart for 4 weeks.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grandy, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me to make my dreams.
Phil Grandy is a career businessman who's also been an entrepreneur